Alrighty, how's everyone doing today? Welcome to my channel. This channel has an educational mission, and that is to turn you on to great theories, concepts, and discoveries that you might not be familiar with. Mostly because they've been suppressed, and they otherwise require a fair amount of digging into relatively difficult topics. But the payoff is there uh, because they could really change your life in terms of your quest for better spiritual, mental, and physical health. This is a segment we have that is called Your Blind Side, where I try to give a heads up to the info warriors out there about areas that they may need to shore up a little bit um, for their perspicacity. And yeah, well, I've been, looking at the info war for the ever since this war, so-called war, has started in Iran. I think it's been just this slog of, you know, no footage. It's just like the Ukraine war. There's no real evidence that it's actually even taking place, it seems like. And they just kind of tell us and say trust us about the evidence. And it's just one soap opera. Oh, well, we're about to make a deal. Oh, well, the deal's off. The ceasefire is starting. Oh, it's off. Oh, it's on again. Oh, it's off. Oh, are we gonna do this? Are the oil prices going down or are they going up? You know, um, and it's just kind of like no news whatsoever for the last 2 months on that front. Um, just a lot of uh, soap opera type of stuff. And since all that has started, I've kind of tried to recoil from the InfoWar and pay uh, less attention and to recognize that this is some type of op and that this is um, just kind of a stall technique uh, to play out the events that have already occurred and that we're watching a reenactment and that we won and that everything is going to turn out the way we want it to, but are mostly um, but it might take a little while for it to roll out. And in the meantime, there's a lot of things that we could be doing that we're not doing. In particular, getting our houses in order in terms of the next phase, which is the rollout phase or the implementation phase of the Patriot Agenda, which is not seaworthy at this point. I don't believe that the Patriots' agenda has been properly um, vetted by them. They've tried to vet all of these uh, false flags and hoaxes and um, psyops of the deep state, but not really of their own agenda. And so, unfortunately, they're going to find out that their own agenda is equally encumbered by deep state propaganda as the 20th and 21st century agendas of the events have been. And so that is not suitable for the rest of the world, including me, going forward, especially on the basis of your religious belief systems, your Christianity, which I see as nothing but a psychological operation that was originally composed by the Romans And I think there's just a ton of evidence for that. And there is no evidence against it. Um, and A number of different authors have discussed this, and but the evidence is stuff that you can check out for yourself if you just open up Josephus's War of the Jews and compare it with your Gospels, especially the Book of Luke. The comparisons show you that they were both written by the same authors, and we know that Josephus was an agent of the Romans. So anyway, and the Romans did it as a psychological operation against the Jews. I think that this also can be uh, understood on a deeper level by uh, some analysis of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, the Dead Sea Scrolls are written in Hebrew primarily, um, which makes them much different than the Gospels, which are written in Greek originally, even though there is some um, commentary that says they're originally written in Aramaic, which I don't believe at all. Um, so, but the Dead Sea Scrolls have a commentary or a narrative where there is a teacher of righteousness, and he is the focal point of their entire um, monastery and their entire movement. And this kind of belief in this teacher of righteousness is the kind of the salvation of this very pious and disciplined and ascetic sect of Jews that live there near the Dead Sea in Qumran. Um, but then in opposition to this teacher of righteousness, there is the wicked priest. And then there is also the man of the lie or the liar. And there is some dispute among Dead Sea scholars, uh, Dead Sea Scrolls scholars, whether these two people are the same or different. Is the man of the lie different than the wicked priest or not? Well, not sure, and I'm going to have to be studying it quite a bit more. But the way I see it is that the wicked priest, uh, and the reason why the priest is so wicked is that um, he is foregoing a lot of the Jewish traditions and rituals. So he's not so ritualistically pure. He's willing to compromise on uh, some of the strict rules that this sect has, and as a result, they call him his followers the seekers after smooth things. So the way I see it is that if the Romans are using the Dead Sea Scrolls as a model, or regardless of whether they were or not, the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered not until 1947, and they were buried there and they'd been sitting there for in these caves for almost 2,000 years. Um, uh, Either way, they probably came out before the Gospels did. I think they had to have, because they were buried there at the latest 68 AD when the Romans invaded that area as a result of this Jewish war that Josephus talks about. Now, Barbara Thiering, who's the author of this kind of theory, she trusts in Josephus way more than I would, because I see Josephus as just a propaganda agent of the Romans. And so what he talks about is subject to all kinds of shenanigans. And he, along with a couple other Romans, Philo and Pliny. Um, Philo's not specifically a Roman, but is part of the aristocracy of the Hellenized Jews, and is connected Roman, um, with the Roman, uh, what you call aristocracy, and um, they, I believe, are just making up the concept of the Essenes, and so she kind of fits it in with that. But the way I see it is that Jesus is the wicked priest. And John the Baptist is the teacher of righteousness. And so Jesus, in his attempts to kind of broaden the movement, um, is seen as being the wicked priest because he's um, attempting to uh, make it more accessible to a larger group of people. And then possibly, if that's the case, that's what the Romans were reacting to with their version of the Gospels, um, and and maybe like decoding, um, or encoding their Gospels with the narrative of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Um, but Regardless, these are issues that have to be delved into before you can just, the thing that I have great problems with in the movement is that the movement is just so willing to defer to Christianity and the New Testament and just basically assume that it's all true and that you can't even question it. And so that's the problem. And that's the problem that we have time to solve before we move forward. All right. Like, share, subscribe, comment, contribute, and we'll see you next time. Please remember to have a great day and remember to watch your blind side.